So if I'm on my notes section, I'm going over the lowest marketed price. I want you guys to stay focused at the top right now. We'll work our way down. So Expedia is advertising this room at $77.17, which is the lower of the two third-party websites. Evo Plus, $27.27 if we're rounding up. That's a difference of $49.90, $4,990, meaning you have that much money to play with. Now, I wouldn't recommend marking it up where you keep all of that. The goal is to get return clients. And the way I think and the way I operate is some money is better than no money. If you market it too high, you're not going to have anyone that's going to want to come to you. If you have a lot of people on your platforms that have a lot of money to spend, and that is the area that you are focusing on, aka luxury, different story. But for starters, let's start here. So our founder, David McCovey, has a 50% rule, meaning take 50% of the difference and add that on top of the Evo Plus number, right? So if I do that and I divide $49.90 by 2, my total is $24.95. So if I add the 50% to the Evo Plus number, the total cost of the trip will be $52.22. Now, to break it down even more, what that means for you. That means when you invoice your client, that will be in a different video, the client will pay you $27.27 for the hotel room, 4 people, all inclusive. The client will pay you a wholesale supplier rate. Okay, that's what we are calling it. That's what I call it. Call it whatever you want. But you'll hear me reference wholesale supplier rate, and that's what I'm referencing, is this number right here. So the client will pay Evo $27.27. The client will pay me $24.95, meaning my instant commission payout today could be $24.95, and I would keep 100% of that. Archer doesn't touch it. Remember, if you're doing it the wholesale way, which is this way, right? Evo Plus is a wholesale supplier. That means you're responsible for charging your own commissions. A few other wholesale companies that I work with, Evo Rewards, so that's the free platform that we have. I like to reference that one as well, especially if certain things are unavailable on Evo Plus. I check Downtown Travel, and I check My Profit Agility. Those are the other 3 that I mess around with and play around with for instant commissions. Now, for advertising purposes, all right, some of you guys might ask, okay, well, Nikki, I have a total cost of the trip being $52.22. How do I advertise that? Well, first, I would tell you to make sure you know how to create a travel ad, because Amy Moore goes over this. I think she's the one that does it, or she's done one before. But $52.22 is going to be divided by the number of persons you are quoting out. In this case, it would be 4. So $52.22 divided by 4 would be $13.05 per person up front. Now, that's not bad, but when you think of a number standing out in advertisements, the smaller the number, the better. The more people it will attract, at least. And that's the goal of a travel ad. You want to attract as many people as possible, not necessarily to that ad, but they're drawn in enough to engage with you or follow you or comment or something, right? A nibble, a bite, whatever. That's the goal. It's not for them to just eat it all, right? Which essentially in this case would be the deal, the trip, the vacation. So How I break it down, if you guys are up for the challenge, is I do a smaller deposit. So I give them a payment option, meaning I'm going to take the total cost of my trip, which is $52.22. Client is still going to pay me $24.95, but I'm going to finance that number at 0%. Finance because I am technically the bank they're borrowing from, right? But I'm going to charge them 0% because I'm still going to get money from them today that's going in my pocket today. So if you jump down a little, I'm going to make today's total payment $32.27. So how that looks, EVO Plus number doesn't change, stays the same. In order to guarantee it, you have to pay the wholesaler in full. But the client would pay you, in this case, $500. Now, to me, I'm okay with that, knowing that this is what I'm owed. I'm okay with that. $500 today to lock someone in. Heck yeah. So the remainder due on the payment plan would be $19.95. If you add 500 to that, that gives us our total of what the client pays me. Now you can advertise it at 0% interest. And for payments, for additional payments at $498.75. Typically, all trips, through a wholesale supplier or not, are due in full 60 days prior to the trip. So if it's being financed through VAX, FunJet, Apple Vacations, United Vacations, Southwest, American Airlines, Delta Airlines, or Delta Vacations, to name a few, they're the same way. But instead of the client paying them that price up front, they're financing it. They're giving them that option. So you're going to play the role of the supplier. And you're going to break it up how you want. Maybe you want the client to pay you a little bit more today. Fine. But just remember, for travel ad purposes, you're going to divide the payment due today for a deposit to lock them in by the number of persons quoted out. So again, in this case, it's 4. So if I take the total payment due today, which is $32.27, and I divide that by 4, my deposit that I would list on the ad would be $807 per person. That includes what they owe EVO and what they owe you today. Hope that makes sense. If not, I highly recommend rewinding this and just taking it a little bit slower. But it really is that easy. You guys don't need to complicate it. I tell my team all the time, get out of your head. Let go of your ego. Your ego is your mind, the way you think. Let go of it. Because there are good things out there like this. And I've sold deals like this before. So stay tuned for the next part, which will be the invoicing on TravelJoy.